Hi, I'm Brandon.
Hi, I'm Chelsea.
And we do things. So we just got back from going to get onion rings at a pizza place, a colonial-themed pizza place.
It was cute but weird.
Yeah, very busy. A lot of soccer mom people there.
With their soccer kids.
And
their soccer balls.
And then Chelsea's like, let's go for a walk at Hoover Dam. Because we live in Nevada.
Yes.
And then...
Nevada.
So we take a walk at our no local dam, and there are just spiders every goddamn where.
Spider season.
And we decide that we want to read some stories, and we want to read spider stories. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're reading spider stories.
Yeah.
Creepy stories and critiquing them. And we have just seen plenty of spiders, so we should be sufficiently prepped to be scared. So this story has every advantage in the world to be scary. And I guess we're going to be doing this all week. Probably at least 5 stories. Probably five.
Yeah.
5 stories.
5 stories.
Of varying spider-related activities. And this one comes from NoSleep, entitled The House Spider. But before we read that, we walked by a sign that said something along the lines of, don't jump into the... There was a lot of don't signs. They were telling us not to do stuff.
Yeah, those were all recently added too, which makes me think somebody did something really dumb.
Yeah.
But we didn't hear about anything in the news, so maybe it was
It's just Rage Against the Machine going there protesting, saying, fuck you, I will jump off the dam.
Right.
But then, no, so there's a sign that says something along the lines of, hey, don't jump into the dam because you will get caught in a current and not be able to come up.
And you will die.
And you will die.
And it just showed like a little stick person stuck like underwater next to the dam, just drowning.
So no drowning allowed.
Yes.
And so then
we started talking about like Delta P.
Which I have no idea. I still don't understand, so explain it to me.
So I'm really terrible at explaining things. There is a video, I think it's like 12 minutes on YouTube, that explains it way better than I will ever be able to. But when it comes to like underwater, Delta P refers to like the difference in pressure between 2 areas. And the rush of water in trying to correct that pressure difference. Mm-hmm. And if you get stuck in like a small point where the water is rushing through trying to correct like the difference in pressure, you will die.
Why?
Because our bodies were not made to withstand that kind of force.
So, okay.
So like, you know how did in science class you ever like take one bottle full of water and then another bottle and then tape it together? And then flip it upside down?
No.
Really?
No, I don't think. So what happens?
Like, the water just rushes to try and, like, get to the place where it's not.
Right.
Right.
Wait, no, I'm confused. You take 2 bottles of water.
Right. Well, you take 2 bottles, one full of water, one empty.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Tape them together, yeah. Usually, like, you do that and then, like, spin it to show what a tornado is supposed to look like.
I thought you were talking about taking one bottle, placing it on a table, another bottle, placing it right next to it on a table, and then taping them together
like that.
And then
like
turning them upside down.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't understand what that just... What?
That just gets water everywhere.
It just gets water.
That's how you get water everywhere.
Do you want water everywhere?
Because that's how you get water everywhere.
But man, it was just flooded with spiders.
Yeah, it was spider season.
Spider boys everywhere.
Fat-butted spider boys.
Which you're going to see blurry footage of throughout this. We were going to read stories there, but then we were running out of footage at like battery, and then we decided, let's just go home and do it there in the comfort of our comfort place.
Right.
So, House Spider.
House Spider.
This was written 5 months ago. It has over 5,000 upvotes on Reddit, No Sleep, as we're doing this, by Veristall.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
3 weeks ago, I went to see my best friend, Kameko. Prosecco. In Japan. I had recently had problems with a guy I dated, Chet, turning stalky when I broke things off, and I wanted to get some time away from dealing with that. More importantly, I was excited both because I never had been to the country or much of anywhere, and I hadn't seen her in person since a few weeks after college graduation, which had been almost 5 years ago. She had lived in Tokyo for a couple years when she moved back, when her grandmother had died. She inherited the woman's home in the countryside about 20 kilometers from Osaki. Osaki? Is that a place?
I don't know. Bing it.
Yeah, binging it. Binging it right now. Bringing up pictures of...
Oh, it's a
chairs.
town located in the So district?
Kagoshima.
Yeah.
It's in Kagoshima.
Wait, what did that say about it? Like, reopen that.
Okay, Bing.
Bing, bing. Go down a little bit.
Green beans.
As of April 2017, the town has... Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so
about 13,000 people.
Just making sure that they weren't confusing it with Osaka.
Yeah.
Because that would have been funny. It was a large house that had been in the family for generations, and based on the pictures she had sent me, I was excited to stay in such a neat place, too. So, this is following the No Sleep format of being very conversational and trying to come across as though it's a blog.
Right.
And I'm liking that so far. Don't know too much about our narrator or any of the characters, just know that they are dealing with a stalker kind of person.
Who's named Chet.
Chet.
Very stalkery kind of name is Chet.
Yeah. That's a very Chet thing.
Yeah.
To all the Chets out there, you know what you do. You know what you get into.
She came to pick me up at the airport, and after hugging and talking excitedly for a few minutes, we headed to her car. She seemed just the same as she always had, smart, funny, and full of life. But I know her too well. I could see something was worrying her as we drove through the beautiful countryside, her pointing out this cool thing or that historic site with a fluidity that made me wonder if she was making up some of the facts and names as she went. I laughed inwardly at the idea of her making up tourist facts, but when she took a break from pointing things out, I asked her if everything was okay.
And she's like, yeah, I'm just afraid of all the drop bears.
I'm just afraid of Chet. Chet drop bears.
Well, if they're in Japan, it'd be Chetsu.
Chetsu.
That is, I do wonder if that's going to be relevant to the story or if that's a red herring, the whole thing about Chet.
I mean, it could just be an explanation as to why she's,
like
trying to see new sides.
And that's something I like. I like not knowing whether something is foreshadowing or, because that could be foreshadowing or that could just easily be an explanation.
Right.
Could be both or it could be one, and you don't know. And that's a nice thing because it allows your mind to wander, go into different spaces, so we can be led away from wherever the horror is, you know?
Right.
She glanced at me with a nervous smile. You always do that. Yeah, everything's okay, but I've been debating on when to tell you about the unique feature of my house.
I had been smiling back, but I felt the expression slipping away at her tone. What's that?
Well, you know this is an old house I have, right? My great-great-grandparents built it over 100 years ago, and I had never been, I had never even been to it when my grandmother was alive. I could tell you that she was trying to build up her courage to get out, and before I could respond, she finally did. Well, my house is kinda haunted. Kinda, not really. Her voice went up at the end, like she was asking for my confirmation. Okay, so she's kind of like, it's haunted? Do you believe in that?
Kinda haunted, kinda not.
Yeah, so like she's not sure whether this person believes in hauntings or not.
Right.
Alright.
I raised an eyebrow. I had been expecting her to say the plumbing was bad or that the wiring was wonky. Not this. And kinda, what did that even...
What I mean is, it's not like a ghost. It's a yokai. I know what a yokai is, because I watch anime.
And you watch Matt Alt.
Matt Alt! Oh, man, I love Matt Alt.
He's great.
Go find Matt Alt on Twitter.
Tell him he's great.
And then tell him he's great. Which I can tell you don't know what that is. Okay, it's kind of like a general term for a wide variety of creatures and spirits in Japanese folklore. And apparently they're real. At least some of them are, because I have one.
I felt disoriented. I'd have thought it was a practical joke, but Kamiko hated pranks and I could tell she was serious. I considered if she was on drugs or having a mental issue, but knowing her, that seemed unlikely too. So I decided to just roll with it.
Yeah, so for those that don't know what a yokai is, the story is describing it pretty well. I mean, it's something that's hard to describe, where it basically is a ghost.
Like, in the
but then
past, it's been, like, translated as demon, and that's not quite it.
Yeah, it's not demon, it's not ghost.
It's like a weird in-between.
Yeah, and it's not like ephemeral or corporeal. It's both. Mm-hmm. Weird kind of thing. Okay. I think it's... Okay, so we're here. Okay, weird. So what kind of things do you have? Can I see it?
Can you see it?
Can you see it?
She nodded slowly. Oh, yeah. And it sounds way creepier than it is. It's just a really big spider.
Haunting spider.
Okay. Big butt haunting spider.
Yeah, apparently. Unexpectedly, I burst out a burst of laughter. Laughter pushed its way out of my throat. Fuck, I thought you were serious.
Kamiko was frowning and shaking her head, her eyes going between me and the road. I am, and it's not really a spider, at least not a normal spider, but it's about the size of, well, like that show Lassie. It's about Lassie size. That's a good description. And it's lived there since the house was
built. The size of this Lassie.
Have you ever seen that video of, like, that guy or person that dressed their dog up like a giant spider and just, like, let it run around and videotaped reactions to it?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
I'm kind of picturing that. Anyway, back to the story. And it's lived there since the house was built, at least according to the letter my grandmother left me when she died. It doesn't hurt or bother anything or anybody, and most of the time it stays out of sight. Occasionally it'll come out to watch TV, if I have it on. It likes game shows for some reason. But the best thing is it keeps the house immaculate.
That's true. That's got to be true.
That's amazing.
Because if it's a Lassie-sized spider, that's got to keep all the other insects out.
Like, I want this.
It's got to have an appetite,
right? But it sounds like it's cleaning the house, though, like dusting, and like, do you think it has a maid uniform on?
It does the thing where it gets the old rag and then runs across the wooden floor with its ass up.
Oh my god, with its little fat spider butt.
Oh man. But yeah, if it's that size, it's got to keep out. You're going to have giant spider webs. You're going to have
unless if it cleans up after itself.
Maybe
it cleans up its own spider webs.
But then, it's got to have some out all the time, otherwise it'd starve.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how that'd work.
But like, it's also like a yokai spider, so.
So it eats all the yokai insects.
Right.
And all the yokai stink bugs.
Oh my god.
And yokai mosquitoes.
Yes. And do you think it would eat ticks?
It would probably eat cicadas.
Cicadas.
Japan's got those cicadas, so I'm imagining they got yokai cicadas. And it lived... Okay. Am I blinked? Yeah.
I blinked, yeah.
I blinked. Your border collie-sized spider ghost is a maid?
She shot me a look. Not a ghost, a spirit, or part spirit, or whatever. But yes, it cleans. Never when you're around, and it has to be through magic. I haven't had to lift a finger since I moved in.
I turned my seat in my seat to face her more directly. Okay, what's the deal? Is this a joke about me being messy? I don't get it.
She sighed. I know how it sounds, but I didn't want you to be terrified when you saw it. And you know I never would have invited you here if I didn't truly believe it's safe. It was weird for me too at first. Now I kind of look at it like having a fucked up family dog that doesn't die.
I opened my mouth to say something, but I had no words. Finally, deciding I'd just have to let this weirdness play out, I said okay and settled back into my seat.
When we arrived at the house, I was awestruck by how beautiful the house was. It was also very large, especially by Japanese house standards. We went through an outer gate and into a meticulously maintained garden. I gestured around and mouthed spider, which got me a withering look as Kamiko mimicked my gesture and mouthed gardener. I grinned and shrugged, and then we went on inside.
Wait.
I like that. That's like a fun interaction.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The interior of the house put the outside to shame. It was spotless, but wouldn't have. There we go. Wouldn't have expected less from Kamiko. Anyway. And it managed to be extremely clean and orderly without looking sterile or uninviting. Yeah, that's Japan. That's what Japan is.
Right.
They're all weird about like, you can't dump toxic waste on these mountains.
I love it. I wish we were more like that. Or under mountains.
I think that'd be funny if they I want to see the Japanese dub of Captain Planet and how how the Japanese would react to Captain Planet.
Oh my god. That would be amazing.
I'm sure that they would, like, consider it, like, horrific. Like, these fucking villains are unbelievable.
Right.
I glanced around, simultaneously happy to be there and nervous, and I finally asked where it was.
Shrugging, she led me deeper into the house. It's hard to say. It keeps to itself mainly, and it won't ever approach you even though it doesn't run if you approach it. I guess in theory it would let you touch it, but I've never tried. She gave out a short laugh. This sounds so weird actually talking about it to another person. She suddenly stopped and turned, giving me a quick hug. I'm really glad you're here.
And, there's one more thing. There's an old shrine, where the well is in the backyard, and I can go down the well and go back in time to a land with demons.
Oh my god.
And
there was a half-naked centipede lady back there. It was weird.
Cute.
My ghost spider took care of her, though.
Cute dog boy.
Cute dog boys.
Dog boys? Oh yeah, I guess Shishomaru.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's cute. He's sexy. It's different. Okay, well, be gay then.
He's cute.
This is how I would react to this scenario, though. You're in a country you're not from. Your only point of contact there, and the only person who's, like, around you speaking your language is saying some crazy shit, and it's like, I don't have anywhere else to go, so...
Roll with it.
Yeah, it's like, this seems to be a person that they're close with, because they're keeping up with them 5 years after they moved away from their homeland. I don't know if this is in, America, England, UK, English-speaking country for sure, but
right.
we don't.
Australia.
New Zealand.
Those are also English.
New Zealand.
New old New Zealand.
New old New Zealand. Are we at shrugging?
Let's see here. No. Wasn't until that evening.
It wasn't until that evening, after we had eaten dinner and settled into the living room to watch TV, that I saw the yokai. I had caught motion out of the corner of my eye and started to turn when the shape I saw froze me in place. If anything, Kamiko had underestimated the size of the thing. It moved silently into the room and slowly moved up the back wall until it was perched against the high ceiling. I heard Kamiko's voice near my ear telling me to breathe, that it was okay. To go ahead and look at it, it was fine, it didn't mind. With great effort, I turned my head more to see it more fully, taking in its dark form as the flickering of the light from the television. It reminded me somewhat of a tarantula, but with a large set of black eyes, 3 smaller surrounding a large on both sides of its face. I could feel it glancing down at me for a moment, but then seemed to go back to watching TV.
If it had been anyone else, I would have run away then. As it was, I spent the next day trying to convincing her it wasn't safe for her to stay there, and she spent another 2 convincing me everything was fine. Ultimately, she won out. I stayed for another 5 days, had a great time, and by the end I actually waved bye to the spider as it crept across the foyer the day I left to return home. It glanced at me again, gave a slight nod, and went about its strange business.
It's a tachikoma.
I love it.
It's a tachikoma.
It is a tachikoma.
That's amazing. All right.
Except you can't, write it. Or write in it.
Well, we don't know. They haven't attempted to.
No, that's true.
So this whole story has spent itself trying to convince us that this is a thing, and then they show it, and it's explained kind of matter-of-factly, like, we're kind of skipping over all of the tension that could be here. I
kind of like it, though, because, it's not evil. It's not, out for blood. It's just like, hey, I'm just here to watch some, J-dramas.
Yeah. Give
me my soaps.
Oh, man, what was the name of that show that was, about, a guy with the philosophy of Nietzsche?
Mr. Nietzsche in the convenience store?
Yeah.
Which is such a good show. I highly recommend it. It's all on YouTube.
But what was I going to say? The story is not putting any tension there, which I guess is fine.
I mean, we've still got quite a ways to go.
Yeah, but it feels kind of like a missed opportunity. They're just like, yeah, the spider's real. This is a very visual story, though. It's telling us exactly what everything looks like in a very... It's got a nice flow to it so far.
Right.
My turn?
Yep.
By the time I arrived home, the entire trip seemed surreal. I was also exhausted. I put down my suitcase, cleared out a spot on my messy bed, and fell asleep. I woke 5 hours later, and seeing piles of clothes... seeing the pile of clothes. The furry dishes in the sink.
Oh.
Furry dishes in the sink.
So, like dishes that have been left in the sink for so long they've grown their own culture.
Oh. And the general messiness that I could only partially blame on my preparedness for the trip. I found myself wishing I had a ghost spider maid of my own. I can't believe my spider maid is this cute. Shaking away the thought, and after a depressing look at the fridge, I went out for pizza.
When I got back, everything was pristine. I felt a combination of wonder and terror. How the spider somehow followed me here?
You know in Japan they have spider sumo battles?
What?
Yeah, there's a documentary about it, spider sumo battles, where they put 2 spiders on a stick, and the spiders try and knock each other off the stick.
That sounds really dangerous for the spiders.
No, the spider loses when it uses web to save itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. That's a little better. Because, if, they fall, then they can, bust their internal organs when they fall, and, that results in a really painful death for them.
What about jumping spiders?
I mean, jumping spiders are equipped to jump. No spider is great at falling, though. That's why if you get a tarantula, you're not supposed to, handle it too high up. Because, for a while I wanted a tarantula, so I was looking into that. I mean, I still kind of do want one, but...
That's when I saw my suitcase. It had been set out against the wall and emptied, but when I got closer, I could see a small bulge in the front pocket of the top. The pocket was partway unzipped, and when I used the light on my cell phone to look inside, there was an egg in there. A strange, leathery black egg, the size of a large chicken egg. Its surface shiny except for intermittent, dull flecks of green. Even at a distance, I could see the egg had been opened from the inside and was empty. Ooh, that's cool.
I ran outside and called Kamiko. She answered sleepily, but woke up fast when I told her what I had found. She said her yokai was still there, but she guessed it had a baby. She said she would try and find out what she could, but be very careful, as not all yokai are the same, and some are very dangerous.
So the idea of the visual of that egg is very vivid.
Right.
And sounds like what a giant spider egg would look like.
Right.
I debated getting a hotel room, but ended up going back in, promising myself I would run at the first sign of trouble. When I entered, I saw it. It was halfway up the wall of the front hall, looking at me with 8 small eyes of dark blue, like sapphires. It was the size of a small kitchen, and its legs...
Small kitchen?
Small kitchen. I was like, what? Small kitten, and its legs and body were covered in what looked like white fur. Its head was the strangest part. Aside from its eyes, it looked more like the head of a weasel than a spider. And I saw it open its mouth in a toothy yawn before giving me a small, warbling greeting.
It was almost cute, which probably meant it would kill me and fill my body cavity with eggs. I regretted the thought and swallowed.
Are we cool? I felt like an idiot talking to a little monster on my wall, but I just blurted it out. Then it nodded.
Gonna live here together and get along, not hurt each other?
Another nod.
Okay, cool, I guess. We'll try it out. Welcome home. The creature gave what I decided was a happy warble and nod before moving down the hall.
In the days since, everything has gone very well. It's still bizarre, of course, but I've adjusted quickly and had no real concerns until this morning, when I found the body in the guest room closet.
Ruh-roh. Got out of the closet. But I had trouble opening the door. When I did, I saw a man's body wrapped neatly in silk webbing, sitting in the closet floor. I screamed, but before going into full panic mode, I realized he was wearing a black ski mask.
Ooh.
I studied him closer to the extent I could see through the webs. He had dark clothes, a long skinny knife was clenched in his right fist.
All right.
All right.
Anti-rape Japanese spider.
Home invasion.
Anti-rape Japanese half-ghost, half-monster spider.
Japanese anti-rape, half-ghost, half-spider monster maid.
Maybe that's why Japan has really low crime rates. Like, violent crime rates. They just have all of these spiders running around.
I mean, I wouldn't commit a crime if I knew a spider maid was going to kill me, I guess.
Well, okay, so here's the part in the story where you're supposed to... Oh, you just read ahead too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
No, yeah. Okay, but this is the part in the story when it's supposed to be like, hey,
linger a little.
No, I'm saying, this is the part in the story where you're supposed to be like, oh shit, now there's a dead body that I'm not responsible for. What am I supposed to... But you have a spider maid.
Right.
Spider maid will clean it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is where you would normally be like, how do I dispose of this? Do I call the police? If I do call the police, how do I explain that my spider maid from Japan killed this man?
Well, there's always this element. The story isn't trying... It's weird because it's setting itself up like a blog, but it's not trying to be realistic.
Yeah.
Because it's such a ridiculous concept, and they're just rolling with it.
Right. They're just... Yeah.
So, bearing that in mind, what I would do in this scenario is be like... Is there any reason, hey spider, is there any reason I can't tell the world about you? And then if the spider is just like, spider shrug, then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna bring some scientists here, and they're not gonna hurt you, but I want you to see, I want the scientists to see you and study you, because you're a ghost. Well, you know?
I would probably just be like, hey spider, can we cuddle? Can you turn yourself into like a cute girl?
What? Oh. You're thinking of Kobayashi no Dragon Maid, yeah.
Spider Maid.
Spider Maid. Cleans
Does
up your house,
a
kills
Spider-Maid
rapists. I recognize that knife. Chet used to carry it around in his truck the times we went out. I felt my stomach clench. Why? Of all the people that you would want killed.
Well, not everybody... wants people to die, even if,
well, no, it's...
painful people, I guess.
It's like, why, yeah, but then we have the sentence, I felt my stomach clench after, realizing, oh, that's Chet.
Right.
Why
it's
specifically...
like one of those things where it's just like, oh, that's somebody I know that's dead.
Maybe.
I think maybe it's just, a gut reaction to seeing somebody being dead.
Man, really sad to see this rapist. It's like...
Right?
It's like I was upset about this, but now that I know that there was a person that was going to rape me, I'm even more upset? Or kill. We don't. I'm making an assumption for
Why not both?
Why not? Probably both.
I mean, Chet is the kind of name, I guess, that would go for both.
So when it was...
And then he'd just steal things, I guess.
When Chetsu was just a light stalking character, I felt okay making fun of it. If your name is Chet, we don't really think that.
You're probably fine.
You're probably fine. Probably a little stalkery, but not the rest of it.
Just watch out for spiders.
Yeah, all Chets are slightly stalkery and have arachnophobia. I managed to slip the knife loose with some effort and used it to free enough webbing to remove the mask. Chet's face was hollowed and drawn, and I could see that his throat had been ripped out.
It's hard for me to say how long he had been there, but I had seen enough to know what had happened. I grabbed my raincoat and went out. When I returned home that night, every trace of him was gone. For the 10th time, I considered calling the police, but what could I say? In the end, I sat down and turned on the television. It only took a minute to find a game show to watch.
This isn't my kind of story, and it's not realistic, but I really enjoyed it. It was a fun read.
It's adorable. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
But I also think tarantulas are cute, so...
Well, that's also what I like. I always like when something that is horrific, because there is horror here. There is the supernatural. You're dealing with forces that you don't understand. There's the unknown, unfamiliarity, stalkers, dead bodies, all of this stuff. Knives. All of this stuff is clearly horror.
Right.
But I like it when there's a little bit of comedy injected into your horror.
Right.
A little bit of, this is not romance here, but when you have romance or some other thing to break up
cute relationship.
Yeah, and so there is that. Well, I guess there is kind of a weird relationship here in a way because you have the
your
spider dynamics, spider love dynamics.
Yeah, spider friend,
spider bud.
Yeah,
good decision though.
I like it. It's cute.
the story was just long enough, too, for us to forget about Chet.
Yeah.
And
It was the perfect length to kind of...
really well paced. Yeah, I can see why this got a bunch of upvotes. There's always this, question. Sorry, I'm kind of like needing to burp, but it's not coming out. There's always this wonder. Don't pad me. Don't you pad me. There's always this wonder of like, this has a bunch of upvotes or people upvoting this because it has spider in the name or, like something stupid, or is there really something here? And there's really something here. This is well written, I think.
Right. It is well written. I like it.
Any other thoughts?
I'm kind of curious to see if this person has written anything else, because if they have, I want to read it.
Yeah. Vera Stahl. We can see if they...
Oh, hey, they wrote a book. The Outsiders book 1.
Cool.
Cool.
So they just broke up the book The Outsiders and are selling it in separate chapters?
I mean...
I'm joking. Anyway. I'm trying to read some of these comments. Totally awesome. You respected it at her home and the spider sent you a baby home with you.
It is, like, no sleep, though, so there's not going to be any, like, constructive comments.
No.
It's all going to be like, oh yeah, this was totally real, and I have to treat it like it was real.
Yeah. I imagine it's a great honor if it is a good one at least, and your new friend seems to be the best. Wish you I'm trying to see if there's any comments being like, yeah, anti-rape spider, because that's straight up what it is. Awesome story. I have arachnophobia, and I've been trying to get over it recently, so when I noticed a smallish spider living in my bathroom, I try not to freak out and let it live. I named it Darren. Darren likes to come... See, here's what I agree with this person. Leave the spiders in your house alone, especially if you don't have pets or they're out of the reach of your pets.
Yeah.
Leave the spiders there. You won't get mosquitoes. You won't get stink bugs. You won't get all of these other creepy crawlies. Spiders are like the anti-insect.
Right. They're great.
I love them.
I do like how this person just, like, named his spider Darren, or her spider Darren. Like, I do that too. Like, I'll name my spiders.
Well, remember I wrote a horror story about that.
You've written many, many horror stories.
Yeah, but there was the one about the stink bugs and the guy who goes crazy and then has the anti-stink bug spider that he names the cleaner.
Yes. But I mean, like, human puppy names.
Yes, yeah. Well, there was one there for a while, speaking of Inuyasha, that was in our garage that I named Moroku.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just like, hey, not shit. Not Moroku. The fucking... What's the name of the bad guy? The really boring... Naraku, yeah.
Why would you name your spider Naraku?
Because Naraku is like Japanese for spider, isn't it?
I don't know, but like...
I think that's what it means.
I feel like Moroku would be like a better name for a spider. Because it's just like he has like the little sucky hole and he sucks the insects in. And then he's just like, oh no, I sucked in too many insects. I'm poisoned.
No, Naraku means hell.
Okay.
Was a spider Hanyo who was born from a human. Okay. Yeah, so... He's part spider guy. Naraku is the most boring villain in existence.
He really is. I really did like, what was her name? Kaguya? Or no, not her. Wind Bitch, who always had a titty, like, flapping out in the manga.
Kaguya?
I think so.
I think it's Kaguya. We're gonna find this out with the power of Bing. Why isn't it just telling me, like, Naraku's buds?
Naraku's babies.
No, not these people. Where are they?
Just keep going down. Maybe it'll, like...
I love how it doesn't tell us. Sorry, people. We're doing this.
We gotta know. There's Kagura. Yeah, Kagura. Yeah. I always thought she was really pretty.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Anyway.
Anywho.
You can find links to Chelsea's DeviantArt and Twitter in the comments. And not in the comments, in the low bar.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.